30, 60, 90. Now, I didn't put any symbols or anything on it. What do you think those numbers represent? The degrees, 30, 60, 90. If we draw one, and there is one on your geometer, but before we draw it, I want to show you where it comes from. Up there at the top, let's draw this one. And that's an equilateral triangle. Tell me what you know about it. Sides are the same, okay? All the angles are the same. And what are the angles? 60, 60, 60, 60. So what if I were to take it and fold it, and to fold it, we would just actually do this. We'll just kind of make it dark. And that's a 30, 60, 90. See, we took half of the 60 up there. This one's still 60, and there's your right angle. Now, this thing has three sides. It's got a hypotenuse, it's got a leg here, and we call that one the short leg, and then this one we call the long leg, which makes sense. Now, if you remember the Pythagorean theorem that you had today, we know that the leg squared plus leg squared equals hypotenuse squared. That's a quiz you had today. So what if I make this side right here 1? If I make that little piece right here 1, well, if this is 1, what's this little piece right here? 1. Well, then what's the whole side? 2. What's the whole side here? This side's 2, and this over here would be 2. Now, we're especially interested in just the half of it, but you can put a 2 over there. Is that agreed? Does that make? Oh, I'm interested in what this little thing right here would become. So what we're going to do is kind of develop a formula so that we don't have to do the Pythagorean theorem every time. And then I have people in class that think that they have to do this every time in your classwork. No, we're trying to come up with, because I think this one will be easy to relate, and then this one is pretty easy, but it's not quite as pretty. So we've got legs squared, so our legs are 1 squared plus x squared equals 2 squared. See? Leg, hypotenuse. 1 plus x squared equals 4. Subtract squared equals 3. Square root, square root. Can I break down the square root of 3? No, it's factor trees 1 times 3. That doesn't do me any good. So x equals the square root of 3. Now, what's the understood number in front of that? 1. Now, what I want you to recognize is, and like there's a tie between all 3 of these sides related to this one right here. These two, like the x, just became 1 square root of 3. And I put that 1 there for a reason. And then these two are easy, definitely by looking at them. Let's do problem number 1. The right, okay, where's the 30? You know where the 90 is. Which one's the 30 and which one's the 60? Another half of the triangle over here, you got 60. Don't you remember that the short side is across from the littlest angle? Ah, yeah. Short leg, long leg, hypotenuse. Now, the first thing I would like to know is what is the relationship between these two? Let's see. Let's let the short leg be 4. So I want to know the hypotenuse, and I want to know the long leg. Now, in just a minute, we're going to do them like your classwork, and we're going to put variables on them. But right now, I just want to do the relationship. What's the tie between these two? What number are you doing? You're either multiplying by something or you're dividing by something. The number 2. They're tied together by 2. If you know the short leg is 4, then what would be the hypotenuse? This is 4. The short leg is 4. What's the hypotenuse? 8. There you go. Because the short leg is only half of the side. Now, this is the one that's tied together a little bit different. When this was 1, this was 1 square root of 3. When this is 4, the long leg's going to be 4 square root of 3. You're going to multiply by square root of 3, and we're going to multiply by 2, 4 square root of 3. Now, if you do the Pythagorean theorem like we did up here, that's what it would give you, but look at the shortcut. That makes it so much easier. The easiest one is when you know the short leg, and then you can just multiply to get that one and multiply to get that one. It's a short leg, so if that's the short leg, this is the 30, and this is the 60, and this is the hypotenuse equals, short leg equals, long leg equals. Then we'll put some numbers to it. Hypotenuse is 10, look, 5. So this time we divided by 2. But they're tied together by 2. You either multiply by 2 or divide by 2. You have to go to the short leg first. Now we go from the short leg to the long leg. What's the tie between them? It's the short leg times square root of 3. So it's 5 square root of 3. Always find short leg first if you don't already know it. You got to get your short leg first because you can't go, there's no tie between the hypotenuse and the long leg that's easy like those are. Number 3, the short leg is square root of 5. Let's see, here's my 30, here's my 60. We're going to call our hypotenuse X and we're going to call our long leg Y, and they're going to do it like this. So we know the short leg. To me, I go short leg to hypotenuse first. What's the tie between the short leg and the hypotenuse? 2. You either multiply by 2 or divide by 2, depending if you're going big or little. So we're going to multiply by 2, which is not outside inside. It's 2 square root of 5. Okay, times 2. Now, let's go from the short leg to the long leg. You multiply by what? By square root of 3. So, what's this? Bless you. Okay, so if you're going from the short leg to the long leg, you're going to multiply by square root of 3. So, what's the square root of 3 to the square root of 5 going to be? Square root of 15. Will it break down? No. Occasionally they will, but not much. Most of these are just the classic ones. Long leg is 8 square root of 3. We're going to let the short leg be X. Now we're going to have to go get short leg first. So I'm going to have to go from 8 square root of 3 back to the short leg. How were these tied together? Square root of 3. So if we're going that way, we got to divide by square root of 3. And you're going to write it just like this. Like that. Divide by square root of 3. You can't leave a square root on the bottom. So I need to do as much simplifying as I can. I don't think I'm going to have to rationalize. You know why? Won't those cancel? And what are we left for X? 8. So if this is 8, what's the hypotenuse going to be? 16. Get your short leg first. Okay, right triangle, 30, 60. Okay, this time I'm going to give you the short leg of 2 square root of 3 over 5. We got to find the long leg, and we're going to call that M, and we're going to call the hypotenuse N. Now, to me, I always go, if I know the short leg, I'm going to get this one first, because short leg to hypotenuse is multiplied by 2. So I'm going to take 2 square root of 3 over 5 and multiply. Now, because I'm doing fractions, can I write it as 2 over 1? I think you'll like that better instead of just saying times 2. Does that make sense? Okay, tell me what the top's going to be. If you've done 24, this helps. I can multiply the outsides. That's going to be what? 4 square root of 3. What's the bottom going to be? 5. That doesn't need to be simplified. Square root of 3, nothing cancel, 4 and 5. So there's my hypotenuse. Now let's go back to M. Yes, this one you're going to multiply by square root of 3. Let's do the top. 2 square root of 9 over 5. Will that break down? Square root of 9. So you got 2 times 3 over 5. What's that going to be? 6 over 5. And we leave them improper. So that's your M.